Thank you so much to Mr. Mayor, Chairman Monestein, and to all the other distinguished members of the County Commission. Thank you for the privilege of addressing you for this, my final report as chair of the Miami-Dade County Community Relations Board, a board created by this commission in June of 1963 to build bridges of mutual cooperation, understanding, and respect among Miami-Dade County's diverse populations. The CRB's primary mission is to intervene and contain, as quickly as possible, community tensions. As you know, I was, Mr. Chair, re-elected as chair of the board in June of 2013 and began my second term that September. My term will end next week on the 27th when our new CRB chair, Attorney Ed Shohat, will take office. And I would ask all of the commissioners and county officials to acknowledge Mr. Ed Shohat. The report I'm about to proffer does not include all of the activities and accomplishments of the CRB in the past 2 years, but today I share some highlights. A more comprehensive report has been or will be provided to you, each one. It's important to mention at the outset that the CRB provided a forum for community members to hear from and address key officials and community leaders over the past 2 years, ask questions, and provide input and critique on important issues in our community, such as education, equity, conditions in local jails, police and community relations, youth jobs and child enrichment, gun violence and youth crime, fair and accountable elections, immigrant integration, affordable housing, a change of government in the Caribbean, cameras on police, marriage equality, and more and more. Some of the people that you may know that we met with include none other than our newest commissioner, Commissioner Danielle Levine Cava, as we spoke to her about her district and other issues. We spoke to our superintendent, Alberto Carvalho, from that same day as our now retiring director of Miami-Dade Police Department, J.D. Patterson, along with Miami-Dade Police Department Chief Dan Oates, and an extensive and exhaustive conversation with Director Maridel Guevara about conditions in the Miami-Dade Corrections and Rehabilitation Center. Substantive conversations were also held with Judge Steve Leifman, Associate Administrative Judge, on enhancing the outcome of confrontations between mentally ill persons and police. And then during that time, we had another very passionate election. We had conversations with Penelope Townsley, Supervisor of Elections. So we addressed a number of issues over the past 2 years. We were frequently involved, as you know, in combating discrimination or perceived discrimination in Miami-Dade County. And so the CRB recommended to the mayor and to you, the Board of County Commissioners, to adopt an ordinance prohibiting discrimination in housing, public accommodations, and employment based on gender, identity, and expression. We also got very heavily involved in civil rights education. The CRB co-hosted with the Equal Housing and Employment Commission a commemoration of the 50th anniversary of the Civil Rights Act here in Miami-Dade County. We spent a lot of energy and time reducing disparities or trying to help reduce disparities and promoting economic justice and housing opportunities here in Dade County. So we were very supportive of the county's efforts by giving you letters and other recommendations related to housing. Ban-the-box ordinance was supported by us. We were also involved intimately with evictions at Little Farm Trailer Park. And recently, we had a chance to tour the Homeless Assistance Center. Some of that work continues even now. We received considerable amount of community input. Over the past 2 years, we have had 5 more community forums on enhancing trust between residents and police. We've convened around Dade County. Dozens of community members provided very valuable input. We met at South Dade Regional Library, Florida Memorial College, University of Miami Life Science and Technology Park, North Dade Regional Library, and finally at West Kendall Regional Library, and talked about a number of issues to which we think they are in the process of being resolved. We've done such good work that the CRB was cited as a resource for responding to tensions, even by Mayor Carlos Jimenez in his comments to local media and doing interviews to a national audience in New York and Washington, D.C. CRB leaders were also featured on local news media, sharing their experiences in calling for nonviolence and community empowerment in response to the grand jury decisions not to charge a white police officer in the death of an unarmed black teenager by the name of Michael Brown in Ferguson. I, the chair and vice chair at Shohat, were also interviewed by local television media, and the CRB also submitted a letter to the editor that appeared in the Miami Herald under the heading, "A CRB Like Miami's Can Help Ferguson." So we've been involved in a number of strategic, very important work, protecting witnesses, expanding the civil citation program, and our strong urge to this county, Mr. Chair, that we consider strongly reinstating the county's independent review panel to provide an effective oversight and mediation process between police and the community. The CRB supported the Miami-Dade Police Body-worn Camera Program, and a letter was provided to the Miami-Dade Police Department for its grant application that was consistent with that determination. I could go on and on about our good work, but allow me to conclude, because you have this report in front of you, with just a few parting words. It is amazing to me that in 2016, there are still people that are still disingenuous to the disadvantaged. That in this day and time, right now, that there are those who overlook the overwhelmed. The people that want to paint a one broad stroke brush over Miami-Dade County as an inclusive, cohesive, progressive community, when in fact, in many ways, our community is even more fractured today than it was when this board began in 1963. This town needs healing. It is obvious that the need for the county to maintain and support a community relations board is greater now than it was in 1963. And the absence of such a board would prove devastating to our local domestic tranquility. Problems and challenges persist, but there are prominent Miami-Dade residents, clergy, business people, activists who volunteer their time and energy to make our community synergistic, where all people are valued and respected. I put my vote in to make sure we continue the Community Relations Board. Thank you very much. Mr. Chair, you have my report. I'm open for any questions or comments you might have at this time.
Thank you, Dr. Richardson. Commissioner Moss, you recognize.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And Dr. Richardson, you were initially my appointee, I believe, to the Community Relations Board, and you have done well in leading the board. And I echo the comments that you made, that we need to support the Community Relations Board because we need, you know, the board now more than ever. We've got some issues that are happening in the community that we need to address, and we need to have this board stay in place and continue to do its good work. Mr. Chairman, at the appropriate time, I'm going to make an appointment to the Community Relations Board, Reverend Dr. Alfonso Jackson Sr. As my appointee to the CRB. And I say thank you, Doc, and thank you to all of the members who volunteer their time, and people don't understand that.
Yes, sir.
You serve, you know, with no compensation, but you do it because you have a concern, you know, in a real feel for trying to make a difference in our community. And I thank you, and I thank all the members of the board. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Moss, Commissioner Moss. I might add, in light of your comments, that when I first came on the board as your appointee, we had close to 16 people as staff working for CRB. We're down to one, and the one that we have is retiring at the end of this year. I asked passionately that we consider making at least a replacement for one who cannot be replaced, Amy Carswell, but that we consider beefing up the staff for the Community Relations Board.
Commissioner Levin-Cava.
Thank you so much, Dr. Richardson, for your wonderful report. I'm a huge fan of CRB for many, many years. I'm delighted that my appointee, Jean Tong Noon, is with us here today.
Yes.
And I just want to say that we are the envy of the country. When I talk to people about community policing and community relations and the incredible asset that we have in the Community Relations Board, people are jealous and they want to copy us. So it is really unique and special. And special commendations to Amy Carswell, who's been there tilling the soil for so many years. I did not realize that Amy was retiring. That is going to be a huge loss to us here in the county, and obviously we need to make sure to continue the great efforts with.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Commissioner Barbara Jordan.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I want to start by commending, of course, the tremendous work that's done by the Community Relations Board and the reputation that you have acquired over 52 years of providing the community with access to information that it critically needed in order to remain calm during the time of crisis. I want to commend you for establishing other community relations boards throughout Miami-Dade County and to urge you to continue to do so. But I also want to commend the leadership that you all have chosen throughout the years. Dr. Richardson, I remember, and I know my colleague Commissioner Moss will also remember, that we had a crisis where we had community activists who were really trying to make sure they got rid of problems in their community, talking about Mr. Lawrence, and the fact that he wanted to get rid of drugs and having people hang out in front of his store selling drugs, and because of that, he was killed. And you led an effort in the community to keep the community calm, to bring the community together. That's the kind of activism that community relations is all about. Instead of being afraid for your own life, you stepped up to the plate in order to make sure that the community was safe and that the community was calm. So I want to thank you for your leadership and for taking the helm as the leader of the Community Relations Board, and to welcome the new chair of the Community Relations Board. And I already get the sense that you are going to be a force to be reckoned with. And I really appreciate the fact that you took the time to come and meet with me. And Mr. Chair, I would urge you to take Dr. Richardson's comments under advisement, and not just for this board to look at having additional staff for the Community Relations Board, but to have right now, within the next few weeks, and a person that board selects to work alongside Amy Carswell. Amy is a person who cannot easily be replaced, and whoever replaces her needs to understand community crisis and how to best deal with it. And I think that that person needs to have the advantage of working alongside her during a transition period before she leaves, and then we're going to force her to stay even longer. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner Jordan.
Commissioner Diaz.
Thank you. I didn't say that, she did. Okay. With that, Dr. Richards, been friends for a long time.
Yes, sir.
Outstanding work to all. I know it's not easy at times, and sometimes things aren't what they should be, or the other way around. But that's why we have you, and we hear you on what you said, and I think it's something that we need to look at. And my colleagues to my right, I know that we're looking to try to beef that up, and I was supportive of that. Brenda, thank you for being there, being my representative. I know you do an outstanding job. You've been involved in the community in so many different ways. And I just want to say publicly, thank you for what you do. And Doc, Murphy, everybody that's here. You know, there's just several doctors there. Right? So with that, thank you once again.
Thank you, Commissioner Diaz.
Commissioner Edmondson.
Thank you. And I just want to give my personal thanks to all of you, and you as well, my Reverend.
Yes.
You have participated with us in Operation Restoration as well. And when Commissioner Jordan mentioned Amy, I think she's been to every single meeting that we've had and have really actively participated, which I will be giving this board a report on later on at the appropriate time. I just appreciate what you've done in this community. You've been out there with me when there's times for us to be out there. You have been there. So again, I'm going to be short and just thank you for all that you have done.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Commissioner Sosa.
Chair, very fast. I know we have a very short agenda today, but I cannot stop from saying that there's one thing that sometimes the community really don't know what the community relation boards do, because your job most of the time is a silent job to try to bring the parts together. Every time when I was the chair for 2 years, every time there was a problem, they were there, silent volunteers, doing their job, and it's good that we have the opportunity to bring those reports publicly so people can appreciate, like we do, what you have done and what the others will continue doing. Thank you for the
Commissioner.
leadership.
Thank you so much.
Chairman, one quick comment.
Commissioner Moss and Commissioner Jordan.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And I talked about my new appointee, but I also want to take this opportunity to thank my previous appointee, Dr. Helen McGuire, who did an outstanding job with CRB, and thank her so much for her service.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I failed to thank my representative. In spite of being in a wheelchair, Robert, I mean, you don't miss a single meeting. Fulton, Ronald, don't miss a single meeting, not just with the CRB, but I see him everywhere
And
in
he's on our
community
executive-
meetings,
He's on our executive board.
everywhere.
Yeah.
And he will,
The executive board as well.
yeah, he will call me in a heartbeat when something goes wrong. Commissioner, this is what's happening. So thank you, Ronald, for being my representative and for continuing to serve. And I know I'm not going to be looking for a replacement. Hopefully they'll put you back on there again. All right, thank you.
Well, I want to take this opportunity to say thank you to the entire board and to Dr. Richardson in particular. Dr. Richardson, we had this conversation, and as just mentioned by you and by Commissioner Jordan, you know, Amy Carswell is irreplaceable. So it's very hard. But my office has been working on that, and very, very soon, you'll be happy to have someone to work with Amy and making sure that that person can fill the shoes of Amy Carswell. You know, it's going to be extremely hard.
Commissioner, I may be cutting my political throat, but I would like to hear a comment or two from Commissioner Barrero, who has not said anything.
I'll just state ditto for all of the comments of my colleagues. I really have seen firsthand the job done by the community board. And having such a diversified district, which I'm honored to represent, this type of board really gets through that and makes sure that everyone is cohesive and well-informed. And we have challenges, but without them, I don't see how we would have overcome certain times that this community has overcome.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Commissioner Hayman and Vice Chair Bovo.
I'd like to extend my thanks, the community's gratitude. A lot of times we look at your board and the force of the people behind it when we're in a contentious situation. What's really important is to keep remembering that your presence out there and your engagement stops a lot of those activities from occurring in the first place. And it's so hard when we look at things to measure prevention or diversion. The initiatives that you all take by being in the community all the time, not just when trouble hits a spot, is so significant. And to Amy, in addition, thank you for the communications. You keep us engaged by the constant updates of things. And that's really important for people to be able to respond with information instead of saying, I don't know. So thank you to all the board members who also couldn't be here for the presence you have in our community. It truly is appreciated. So thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I'll be brief. I've grown up in this community, and while in my capacity as a commissioner, while I have not perhaps worked directly with the Community Relations Board, I can testify to where we were as a community and where we are today as a community, and the continual evolution of a better understanding, of being able to understand that we have differences, but we live together, and that really is a testament to the work, in the ground, on site, dealing with hot flashes, if I might call it that, and making sure that we have a better understanding of the needs in our community, the things that give us anxiety, the things that could become bothersome, and really, if you look at it as a whole, where this community was, years ago to where we are today, is leaps and bounds. We still have a lot of work to do, and clearly, this on Monday we were celebrating Martin Luther King Day, and it just reminds us, okay, all of us, black, white, Hispanic, what have you, how much work we still need to do. So I congratulate you. I know that today's your final report. You'll still be involved. It's in your DNA, and we look forward to the good work that the board does. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you so very much, Dr. Richardson, and we look forward to continuing to work with you and the rest of the board, because you still have so much energy. You're not going to really retire at anything. So we're going to keep seeing you here and throughout the community, and we value your work, and we want to work with you as well.
Can we recognize Amy Carswell, who's in the audience, and she's not standing up here with us, our staff person?
Amy, please stand up. Thank you so very much.
Thank you, Mr. Commissioner. Thank you all. Thank you. Great job. Thank you. I did the best I can do.